indeed coming soon to a screen near you. It is Kinder Pals, and that, of course, is a St. Lucian production. We'll be getting to know all about Kinder Pals in this national updates as you join the Information Command Center. And we are discussing early childhood education during COVID-19. I am Lisa Joseph. Thank you so much for joining us. And we talk about early childhood education during the period of COVID-19. As we've consistently said here and throughout St. Lucia, COVID-19 is here to stay, not about to go anywhere anytime soon. And it means that we have to begin to adjust all aspects of our lives in order to be able to coexist with this pandemic. And so our young children, our tots, they are often sometimes left out of the mix of things when we are planning how to go about our day-to-day lives. And the Ministry of Education has joined forces with the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners to ensure that the entire nation does not forget about our young ones. With us here today is Ms. Scholastic Elcock, who is the president of the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners, Greenwich Giovanni Moses, who's the public relations officer, Mr. Colin Weeks, who is the chief executive officer, I would like to say, of Dove Productions, and of course, no stranger to us at all is Dr. Fiona Meyer, who is the chief education officer within the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Gender Relations, and Sustainable Development. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I know it's going to be a very interesting talk as we discuss Kinder Pals. Now, for the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners, as I indicated, the idea is to ensure that our young children, our infants, are not left behind in this mix of COVID, especially when we talk about the education system. Many people believe that perhaps at this time, the best thing to do is to simply leave them at home for their own protection. But when we are doing this, we must be able to energize their minds and keep them very active. So I want to go to Ms. Elcock and tell us about the creation of Kinder Pals. When and how did the association decide that it should go the way of creating a program to help our youngsters?
Okay, just to start with, it's actually called Lucian Kinder Pals. Okay, and the name came about because we wanted something that belonged to us as St. Lucian. And through it all, through COVID time, trying to find a way to raise some funds, so the Castries cluster came up with an idea of a telephone. So we approached Mr. Weeks about the idea, and we were able to negotiate and say probably a telephone is not, on its own, is not the right way to go. So we should look at a program that will exhibit the development of our children. So that's how it started. So we met with the different clusters, and basically we sold the idea to them. We spoke about the different domains of development, and we asked them to ensure that the program that we carried out showed and demonstrated the development of children. So it has been a long journey. We've watched a lot of videos. We've sent a lot of videos back. So today we are here with, I think about 7 schools in total have taken part in completing the program. But it has been a long journey. It has been hard work. But I'm thankful that Mr. Weeks had a lot of patience with us and the rest of the schools that took part. And we had a committee put in place that had to view the videos coming from the schools to ensure that it met the standards that we wanted for the program. There's still room for improvement, but we think that we have a good product.
Yeah. So in the conceptualization of the program, what story would you like that program to be able to tell in of itself?
The story we would like the program to demonstrate is that even though we go through trials, we will not give up. And so because we care about our children, we wanted to make sure that during this time of COVID, that they were not forgotten about, that we could still work with them and work with the parents to ensure that they were being developed and they were not forgotten about. And also we wanted to focus our energy on something positive, because there was a lot of anger, as if we were forgotten about. So we wanted to come together to say, hey, we can do something for ourselves. And also a way of raising some funds to help our members.
Okay, so Colin, you came in as the maestro where film production is concerned. And for you, once you heard the idea, what were the thoughts that came to mind in terms of concepts and how you could bring their little passion to life?
Right. As Mrs. Elcock indicated, that one of the first things they wanted to do was just a telethon, and I just thought it might be short-lived and it would be one-off, and I always look at sustainability. So we thought that a more sustainable long-term project would be worthwhile to the cause rather than have it this one-off project. So hence we decided to do a regular online, even now, online type of format where the kids will regularly be able to tune in, whether it be, as I said, social media online or on cable or wherever means that, but it will be continuous. And so we just we put our heads together and really develop the concept of the program. And of course, I'm working on their expertise in terms of, what is the best teaching format for the kids. And the visual is me, but the idea of how we go about it, it's really them. So it's that combination that allowed this program to happen today.
Okay, let's bring in Dr. Fiona Myers, as Chief Education Officer. For the ministry, it has its policy, leave no child behind. And so I think with this program, it certainly falls right into the scope of that policy of the ministry. So upon hearing about the Lucian Kinder Pals, the ministry's reaction and its support to the little movement there, because I want to call it a movement.
It goes without saying that significant to any educational institution, to educational system, to the nation as a whole, is the foundation on which education is built. And that speaks to early childhood. I can appreciate that there have been difficulties. I can appreciate that we've had challenges, there have been limitations. But all in all, we recognize the need, and we must acknowledge the fact that so much more needs to be done within the early childhood system. And so in the capacity that I sit, it would be no question that I would totally endorse and support any activity. And in this case, specifically, it is the Lucian Kinder Pals program that sought to reach out to our young ones. And we know they're young, so it is with the support of their parents, with the parental consent as well. But it is under the leadership of our experts within the early childhood sector. So in terms of my reaction, it would be fantastic. Let's go with it. How best can we support it? And at this juncture, I need to speak to specifically the bit of support we've been able to get in terms of UNICEF coming on board. We note that there's been a lot of need across the region, across the world, for UNICEF to be engaged. But it is one of the areas whereby a bit of funding was given to support that program as well. We can always speak to the need for more to happen, which we appreciate, but at this juncture, we must thank UNICEF in particular and other sponsors as well who came on board. And I want to reiterate the continuous support that will be given. It may not always be given in kind, but the positive energy that Mrs. Elcock spoke about, the need to recognize the expertise of our people within the early childhood sector is something that resonates with us all the time. And so we are here to pledge our support, to wish them all the best, and to continue to be that partner and to continue to be the leaders in terms of early childhood education and how best we can support them.
Let me go to Giovanni, the Public Relations Officer for the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners, himself a media practitioner. Welcome. Just to ask, in terms of being able to galvanize the support amongst your members, what was that process like?
First of all, let me thank you for being part of the program. To galvanize the support from the member wasn't an easy job, a task. I will not say that I came in late into the fray of things, but I am there to support and to push for it. We have had our media presentations from the length and breadth of the island, doing some online programming and bringing out the message to the practitioners who are outside there, who at that time COVID had everybody stationed. So in order for us to bring out the information, we had to use the social media, Facebook, and go to the radio stations and bring out the message, etc., so that the practitioners and operators of the centers will know what is happening. With this being said, we know that the message have gone out through many, and I have received comments from other persons as to what it is all about and so on, and there's an interest to get on board. We know it is a hard-hit situation for us, and we are not the only one being faced with this issue. So the Lucian Kinder Pals is one of the program, as mentioned before me, that we are hoping that will generate the funds that is needed so that we could lend support to the affected. Well, all of us are affected, but the centers that are affiliated with the association at this point in time.
Okay. So talk to us about the challenges, because that keeps coming up, the challenges that the early childhood practitioners are facing. We understand that during COVID, the schools had to be closed, and so there was no income at that point. Mm-hmm. Now that we've seen a gradual resurgence of the sector re-emerging, if you will, how are your members, how are they preparing themselves for this next phase?
Okay. Our members have gone through, it's like going through trauma. So they are now at the stage of acceptance. And I would say they are at the stage of acceptance because they are now preparing for the reopening of school in September. But the challenges we are faced now is that majority of us, the numbers have now been cut by half. But our expenditure is very high.
So when we say the numbers, we're talking about the number of children that you can intake.
We can take. So therefore, that places difficulties for a lot of our members. Parents are now querying the fact that what are they going to do with their children, because if, for instance, my school was a 50-place school, and I can only take 37 children. So what's going to happen to the rest of the school? And I know the rest of the children. And a lot of schools, that is the problem, that if, probably you had 30 children, but now you can only take 15, what's going to happen to the rest of the children? So that's a problem for a lot of parents. And also the time, because the children have to stay with the same teacher throughout the day. So we do not want to burn our teachers. So that's another issue we need to look at. If parents are working full time, the times the children are going to be in the school. So the protocols that has to be put in place, the finances to pay for those things, that's a big issue for our members. In some cases, the business communities out there, some of them have been very helpful. Some parents have been very helpful, even though things have been tough for them, but they have, lent a hand. But we are under a lot of pressure. And I know we have to follow whatever the system says. We cannot work against what is put in place, because if any child become ill, we don't want to say that because you did not follow the procedures. But it's very, very hard for us at the moment, very hard. Yeah. So,
Dr. Meyer, you're smiling because we know that you have to pick it up from there. As you indicated that, yes, the numbers are going to be lessened on what the centers can have as an intake. But I'm thinking that it also creates opportunity where you may have individuals who themselves may now be rendered jobless because of COVID-19 can now perhaps look to see if they can open a center of their own. So, Dr. Meyer, talk to us about whether the ministry is in a position at this time to help individuals who may be looking to enter that sector, how best they can fast track opening centers if they have to.
Well, I think we need to put things in context. We've had, through the National Bureau of Standards, as well as the Early Childhood Unit, which is a part of the Department of Education, Innovation and Gender Relations, the formulation of the standards for the reopening of early childhood centers. The Prime Minister has made the pronouncement publicly as well. So with the reopening comes particular standards, and it is a discussion led by the Department of Health and through the Office of the Chief Medical Officer. It is important to note that those standards are meant to support the health of our children. We appreciate that with particular standards comes a situation whereby individuals would need to follow it, and so the particular resources that you would need to follow it. This is why the continuous engagement is always important. So it is important to note likewise that it is a lot based on the space allocations that the centers have, what resources are available to them, and some of the basic protocols that are for everybody, the hand washing stations. Mm-hmm. We know that early childhood in particular has various issues because of the children are young.
And the sensitivity that you have to exercise.
Yeah. Also the fact that we have a lot of private centers. Mm-hmm. The majority of our centers are not publicly owned, they're privately owned. And there are issues with rent and all of that. So it is to work with the team. Luckily for me, I've met with the early childhood practitioners, and that avenue continues to happen in terms of engaging the Department of Health. We've had environmental health come on board to view some of the centers and to see how best they can help support them in terms of reaching that milestone where environmental health is going to then say, yes, this center can be reopened. So it is that situation. I appreciate the fact that we're speaking about, even within a time where there is a lot of turbulence or there are difficulties, there can be opportunities as well. And so we're working with the established centers, because it is important to recognize that some people have been doing this. Mm-hmm. This is for 30 plus years, that there's a lot that they bring to the table. But also, what other opportunities are there? Bearing in mind, it is for the health and safety of our children and our staff as well, and by extension, the general public. So it is a partnership and a communication that we must continue to have in the event there is something that needs to be rethought, rather, there's something that we need to reflect upon, but it is that communication that will help us to do so.
So how will the development of Lucian Kinderpals assist in that regard? Because as we're talking about the less children are being admitted into the center, so how does Lucian Kinderpals come in and create some support system there?
Yeah, well, what we're hoping that Lucian Kinderpals will do is, as you said, help support it in softening the blow in terms of the kids being at home. So even those who are at home will now get the opportunity to be able to see this or even find some kind of comfort of seeing their teacher or an environment that they're aware of or know that right there on their screen. And even just the whole terms of parents working with them through the same programs that they would have done at school. So that is one of the ways that we look into to bridge that gap and soften that blow. It's a lot of about the psychological effect on this whole thing too. We're talking young ones who don't really understand the situation as it stands. So we have to help the teachers, the parents, and the broader society to help them, to comfort them into learning. And as we indicated before, that early childhood is the foundation of education, and we can't just leave them in the wilderness without understanding their ABCs, or even just expecting parents or guardians or whoever to be able to know the best format to groom them through that process. So we provide in that avenue for people to come on board, get it through the social media, get it on cable, social media more importantly, because now you could do it whenever you can. So if you come home at 7 o'clock in the night, you could go onto our Facebook page and put on the programs and do it with the kids, you know, so even though you missed it on cable earlier that day. So we're trying our best, really and truly, just to cushion the whole effect of what was explained before.
Now, we're talking about early childhood education. I think it's a universal understanding that it's really about sensory learning. And so, Ms. Mary, we look to you for some direction on this now, because our young ones definitely learn quite differently from our older students. So with the development of this program, taking into consideration the whole aspect of sensory learning, break it down for us as to how best parents who have their youngsters at home can help their children learn.
We've also got the expert, Mrs. Elcock. For me, having been an educator for many years, early childhood education is about sensory learning. It's about play-based learning. It's about constructivist learning. It is very important that we remind our parents that during the early childhood stages, it's not about formal learning. It's not about a 4-year-old sitting at the table and, you know, trying to write the letters beautifully. It's not about that. It's about the development of fine and gross motor skills. It's about looking at real life experiences. You know, you take your child on a trip, and while you're going out there, you're looking at the number of cars, the make of the cars, you're looking at the scenery outside, you're speaking about the animals as you drive past, you're speaking about the weather. There's so much that can happen in real life situations as compared to a child sitting down and formally having this paper in front of him or her. In many parts of the world, early childhood education goes up until 6 years old, play-based learning. You do not have formal education, particularly in parts of Europe. Formal education starts as of the 6th year. We encourage our parents to see opportunity in this time. I've said it before. Bake a cake with your child, make cookies with your child, make ice lollies. You know, lie on the couch and read a book and have your child practice just turning the pages properly. You know, look at a book that you're reading to the child and have the child explain to you what the story is. It's not about reading it, it's just about understanding it. So real life experiences, play-based learning, sensory learning is so significant. And another big aspect is confidence building. Let our children feel valued. You know, tell our little ones, you've done a great job. And it doesn't matter if they scribbled around the table, you know. Let them know that we value them. So with the confidence of little ones, you know, they go on to develop even better. Let them be articulate about what they need to say. Let us not always say, oh, you have nothing to say, don't speak. Of course, there's a time and place where, you know, there may be an adult conversation that would involve a child. But really giving our little ones the foundation to build their self-esteem and their self-confidence goes a big way in terms of the academic development. At this stage, it is not about formal education. It is not about getting a book per child and making sure you go through all the pages. It does more harm than good because it's going to mess up their hands. It's going to mess up even the way they think and the way they interpret academia. So it is really, really important. This is a time to embrace our children. This is a time to tell our little ones we love them, we think of them, we value them. And in the life experiences that we have, to see those as teachable moments, to see those as learning moments for our little ones. And I cannot underscore enough the need for that emotional support, that need for valuing our children, for spending time reassuring them that it will all be well and you're safe within the environment that you are within your family setting.
So how do we capture all of that within the program? Ms. Elcock, when you envisage this program, how do you bring all of this sensory learning into the program?
It's all in the program. As Ms. Myers was speaking, I said, wow, she must have watched all the things, right? It's all in the program. And I want to reinforce that we must also speak to teachers, to say it's not only about parents, but about teachers, to ensure that the children are learning through play, that they themselves as teachers should not be pushing books that the children have to be tracing 100 times. And also when parents put the teachers under pressure, the teachers should be confident to be able to explain to the parents the value of play. And I think that is one of the things that we are lacking, the confidence to actually, some of our teachers to say to the parents, did you know when your child came in this morning and was able to speak about their journey to school, all the valuable aspect of development that have taken place. So what we find by putting this program together is that there needs to be some continuous training for our own teachers to be confident in the product that we have and how to deliver it. So when you watch Lucian Kinderpals, you'll see the teachers are having fun. You'll see hands-on activities. You'll see stories that's exciting. You'll want to be a child. But the other aspect for us on Lucian Kinderpals is not only to provide for the children at home, but those who are coming back to school to say, we need some funds to be able to help to support our members. So we're asking our St. Lucian public to donate. Right, because the target is to raise 200,000 EC. We're hoping we'll get more than that. So we can actually give an amount to each of our centers. We have at least 60 schools that's members of the association. So we'll be able to give them a sum of money and say, look, pay for the hand sanitizer, pay for, for the gloves, pay for some masks, pay for some clothing for your staff. This is the aim of the association, and that is what we're hoping to do. We have not been able to get any funding from the government because funding has not been forthcoming. But we've moved on. We're not going to go on about it. We move on. So we've now taken our own initiative to say we have to do something for ourselves, and that is the other part of Lucian Kinderpals.
When we come back, we'll be delving deeper into the concept and how that concept is being brought to life by Dove Productions. We are focusing on early childhood education during COVID-19 with the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners, Dove Productions, and the Ministry of Education. Stay with us. We're back after the break.
Hi there, boys and girls. I am happy that you have joined me here. Today, we are going to be talking about the numeral 3. Yes, numeral 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you say that with me? 1, 2, 3. Good job. Oh, look, I have some best friends and they are going to help me count to the number 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 bears. I have 3 bears. I have 3 bears. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We can count together. We can count together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Lucian Kinderpals. We love to learn, we love to play. Come join with us today.
A snippet there of Lucian Kinderpals, and that tells you the extent of the talent pool in St. Lucia. We're moving on to be able to cater for our early childhood practitioners, ensuring that our youngsters, our infants, are not left behind as we begin to sort of, coexist with COVID-19, putting a new spin on how we run our early childhood education centers. I'm going to go across to Giovanni and ask, we know 7 schools, by what Ms. Elcock has said, 7 schools have come forward to participate in the formulation of this program. Can you tell us the 7 schools?
I'll answer it. Okay. We have TPT Young Children's Center from Peru, Auntie Jenny Early Childhood Development Center from Viewfort, First Step Cecilia Children's Center from Viewfort, Happy Kids from Babunu, Little Stars from Sanssouci area, HEGDEC Early Childhood Development Center, and Early Learning which is they're also based in Castries. So these are the schools that took part, and we've got three other programs, but we were not able to include them in this package. So we were hoping the next time around.
So we just had a look there at sort of the numeracy aspect of it. So in the program looks at the areas of numeracy and literacy. How are we bringing that to life for our youngsters?
Okay. For the literacy aspect, as you can see, you saw maths being developed in one of the activities. There are lots of stories. There are even bits on we spoke about emotional and social development. There's an aspect on that. I'm not sure if there's a clip on it, but we covered it. We covered the aspect on the emotional and social development. But through the stories, you will see there are puppet shows. The children can interact with the various animals, the sound that the animals makes. And even at home, they can question their parents, and there are ways that they can join in with the stories. For instance, Old MacDonald have a farm, E-I-E-I-O. I mean, this great for phonic, development, so children can hear the sounds that the animals can make. There are lots of stories being read by other teachers as well. There's a fun activity, even the physical aspect. There's a physical activity where the teacher is doing the head and shoulder, knees and toes. And literacy is coming out of the language is coming out of that as well. And also the physical aspect, the timing, which is all to do with maths as well. So all the domains, I would say all the domains of development are being covered through what we have demonstrated, the activities we have demonstrated.
So for you, Colin, I know that film and now doing this. How different was it for you to be able to create?
Not difficult at all, because I grew up in front of TV. So, I mean, all my life I knew I wanted to do this. So TV has always been my passion. So a format like a Sesame Street kind of format is really and truly what came to mind at the time. One of the things I wanted to add on to what we're talking about here is that we do have a host, a host in terms of two characters. One is a puppet called Coco, and we have a main character, host called Auntie Cece. So they're the ones really providing the background to each activity. So we would see them first. They would speak about the importance of such an activity, for example, why it is important to know your numbers, that type of thing. And then we go into the activity. So there's a segue with Auntie Cece and Coco, and they're the ones who would be leading the main characters as part of the show. The other thing I wanted to mention is that because this is going to be an ongoing process, what we have is just the first episode. So what we see in now is only the first episode. So it will be a number of activities to come, and a number of preschools that will be participating in the project as we go on. So hopefully 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, that it is still continuous. And we again, that's why we plead to St. Lucia generally, whether it be corporate St. Lucia, parents, whoever, to support this program. And we want to treat it more or less like a public service kind of format, PBS kind of format, where donations are made. So this program will be a continuous piece for all of us to enjoy, and for our children to be and participate in this. So for me, in terms of formatting it, it was more or less an easy format in terms of, or process in terms of putting it together, because I understood from a visual point of view what we needed to do in terms of making the sets as bright as possible. That kind of, again, I talk about the psychological component to the show. And obviously I had to, as I said, piggyback with what the association is saying in terms of what are the lessons that we're going to learn, and why are we learning those lessons. So that is basically the creative process behind it. And we're just asking, the general public to tune into the program, make it your own. You know, as we said, it's called Lucian Kinderpals, but really and truly, we would like to see it extend to a wider base. We hope, well, you know, that this will be an international program that everybody over the world could relate to what we're doing here and have as much West Indian and St. Lucian influence into it as possible. So we want to bring in our Creole, our way of life into it and let the youngsters understand or be more appreciative of what we call our own. So in the learning that we learn through our own local process rather than, you know, it has to be a foreign image.
I really do like that, inducting them very, very early.
Yes.
So we're going to get a snippet of what you're talking about. So let's give St. Lucians an understanding of what Colin is talking about.
Hi everyone, welcome to Lucian Kinderpals. My name is Auntie Cece and I have my best friend over here.
Hi, my name is Coco.
Hi Coco.
Hi, Auntie Cece.
And how are you today?
Oh, I'm so fine. I'm excited about Auntie Cece to be here.
Good. Are you guys excited to be here? Great. Now let's tell them what this is all about. We decided that we wanted to do a program full of fun activities where you can learn about numbers and words and stories, even learn how to make things, right?
Yes, Auntie Cece. That sounds so good.
Exactly. And parents, a really quick word, please get involved with all the fun activities so the kids can get along. Right?
Yes, Auntie Cece.
Lucian Kinderpals. We love to learn, we love to play. Come join with us today.
Lucian Kinderpals there, and I couldn't help myself. I really had to be smiling there. I love Coco. Coco had just looked up at her so lovingly. You know, so you can see that, and I just imagine that, yes, children, when they look to us as adults, they are so open, so receptive to what it is that we have to share with them. So Coco gave me that feel of, you know, the young child being so receptive for the information. Why did we decide on the puppet character Coco? How did we land on that?
Again, it was just in the creative process and thinking that, you know, when you think of all what has been done before, you never try to reinvent the wheel too much. You look at what has worked, and we always see, you know, puppets with kids and that association. So it was as simple as that. And again, I think Coco was a character that was already established in the schools. So we said, okay, we're gonna use Coco. So, you know, that was basically it. So we keep on, again, you know, communicating and trying to flash off ideas with each other and see what sticks, you know.
Wonderful. Now, the idea of music to be able to help the children learn. So, Ms. Elcock, you talk to me about that because you do have it as part of the creative development process for our youngsters, music, drama, and using art and crafts as well. So, the importance of incorporating that into Lucian Kinderpals.
Yeah. The theme song was actually written by one of the administrators, Mrs. Wicks, Cynthia Wicks. She wrote the theme song, and she actually also wrote the lyrical content supported by Kingdom Soldiers. And she actually said she's donating it to the association. So what comes out of it, she wants it to go back, you know, to the association to help children in St. Lucia in the future. So the song is catchy, and we love the song. But Coco, everybody loves Coco, and as you said, I mean, Miss again, one of our administrators is playing the role of Coco, and she's doing that very well. So there are lots of creativity within, you know, the early years. So because of our passion for what we do, you know, we go all the way. So in a way, we have to say thank you to COVID for helping us to bring out this creativity. Because I think without COVID, probably we would not have done that. So our anger was directed
Yeah.
at something
positive
positive.
way.
It's a positive
Yeah,
thing,
it's a
yeah.
positive thing. And as Mr. Wick says, I mean, we would like this whole thing to go international, because when we looked at it, we thought, okay, this is Lucian Kinderpal, so it could be Bajan Kinderpal, it could be Trinidadian Kinderpal. So, you know, it could go as far as, you know, as it can. But whatever resources come back, it will come back to St. Lucia to help the early years sector in St. Lucia.
And people should remind,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
let's just tell St. Lucians
Yeah.
that you heard it here first.
Yes, yeah.
That Lucian Kinderpals will be
Yes.
something of a franchise very
Yes,
soon.
yes,
So,
and,
you know,
yeah.
we have Britain Got Talent. It
Yes,
has,
we'll
it has
yeah.
gone out into
Yes.
America's Got Talent.
Talent,
and
yeah.
so Lucian Kinderpals
yeah,
will be
Lucian.
next on
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that chart. Giovanni, for you, the continuous rallying of the members of the association, how are you reaching out to them? What is that process?
Yeah, again, we are doing that through the social media, trying to get the other centers to get into it, into the whole thrust of being part of the association. That's the only way they can be part of the Kinderpals. Because if you're not a registered member to be affiliated with us, you won't be able to be part of this program. So we want them to register with us. For example, we'll be having our AGM meetings, etc., and then we are appealing to everybody to be there. But I would like to address this in Creole,
Oui, this sounds
because we've been bringing out the message in English to our English-speaking community and viewers, but those who are listening in Creole. Ça nous veut dire là, ça nous veut dire dans le COVID virus là, venir en son nous tout, était quasi un shy business en cette lycée au pays. Mais nous regardons cette lycée pour le moment. Et puis un shy business souffert. Et puis nous qui avons fait télécole, qui avons créé ça télécole, preschool, nous prenons bon bloc en ça. Nous partons de l'école from depuis mars pour AO, nous partons de l'école. Et quand nous avons fait gamme pour virer l'école en septembre, nous, ouais, manière bagaille nous partons à 6 pots pour mener l'argent tout. So, organisation venir ensemble, et nous capturer et puis 6 pots, monsieur Wix, pour nous garder manière nous ça fait un bagaille travail pour mener l'argent à tout pour aider ces gens qui a fait l'école dans cette lycée. Donc, nous venons puis programme ça, comme monsieur Wix dit, un petit moment, Sesame Street. En chaque de nous, l'autre, c'est ça, nous avons à la télévision, c'est Sesame Street. Et l'autre qualité programme. Mais ça, là, nous avons fait là actuellement, Lucian Kinderpal, c'est un petit manière même que Sesame Street. Ça, quand aider nous, pour faire l'argent, nous besoin, pour aider nous, manager les affaires, nous, pour l'école qui est ouverte. Parce que, en chaque ces bagages là, nous besoin pour faire et travail, nous passons à faire, toi, joindre, c'est pour nous, nous faire des manières ça là, pour voir que la nation et le public cette ici, ça, ça, pour aider l'association pour faire les affaires nos marchés. Comme le président a dit, nous pas jeunes support, nous still regarder si nous avons support du gouvernement. Et puis l'autre bagaille là, l'école, toute l'école en pays, yo tenu pour couper si maman là, quand était maman nous de gagner l'école là, nous pas ça ni yo comme avant. So si nous on de gagner 50, yo paye 30, yo paye 15. So et ça c'est une manière qui est difficile pour manager parce que ou pas ça fait mener l'argent ou de mener ou de faire comme avant. Et puis les mots ça qui coupé est très difficile pour nous. Et puis quand nous dit association point chemin ça pour faire manière pour mener à le fond pour mener l'argent pour bailler support pour tous ces gens qui ont ça. Quand nous dit la maman qui pas ni privilège pour venir de l'école, qui ça nous a fait? C'est question ça qui peut répondre par ces gens qui en gouvernement. Mais nous pas ça après ces maman ça là encore parce que les mots nous a coupé. So en chaque monde qui a souffert, en chaque monde qui a perdu. Nous quand on perd en dehors de l'école là, nous quand on perd dans l'école là, puisque bagaille pas marcher, qu'on est supposé marcher, c'est un devant. So COVID vini échanger tout bagay, et échanger bagay pour pas nous yon, mais whole cette liste whole pays. Et c'est comme ça nous pour le moment. So moi ka fait by commission ça pour toute cette liste pour bon aussi pour tout le monde qui a conduit l'école yo, bon aussi pour aussi ça ou ça bail pour faire l'offre ça pour nous aider nous-mêmes.
Okay. Merci à pour ça.
D'accord.
So what I want to do with Miguel with me, let's take in another promo for the Lucian Kinder Pass. Let's give St. Lucians another insight into the program.
Eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. One more time. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Wasn't that fun? Now, let's try it in French. Tête, épaule, genou, pieds. Oreille, bouche, nez, yeux. Tête, épaule, genou, pieds. Wow, you did well. Now let's sing it. Touch your head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Your eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Now in French. Tête, épaule, genou, pied, genou, pied. Tête, épaule, genou, pied, genou, pied. Et oreille, bouche, nez, et yeux. Tête, épaule, genou, pied, genou, pied. Now that was a little slow, wasn't it? Let's see if we can go faster.
Lucian Kinder Pals. We love to learn, we love to play. Come join with us today.
I am looking forward to see if I can go faster with her. So that's good. I'm engrossed. I will be watching that because I would love to learn how to say tête.
Épaule.
Épaule.
We say épaule, but
You say épaule in Creole.
Creole is épaule, but the French is épaule.
Ah, there we go. So you see, I will certainly be tuning in.
And you'll be
So
learning
that,
stuff.
so that, yes, so that I can learn. Because the one thing is that as we get older, some of the little basic things tends to relegate to the back of the mind. Yes? But when you go back to the recess of the mind there, say, oh, yes, that's true. I learned that when I was 2 years old, 3 years old. I remember. And so it can really help jolt and bring some happiness to the spirit. I think so. Children are a happy place to be. So I wanted to find out then for science, because I see that is one area that we want to encourage in our youngsters as early as possible to get them interested in the sciences. So Colin, the weight is on you on how are you bringing the sciences across in the program?
Well, actually, as I indicated, I am really dependent on the association to bring
furnish you
forth,
with the
to furnish you the information, and I creatively try to bring it to the screen. So in terms of the formal process, it really starts with the association. So I don't want to play an educator at all. So I'm really dependent on.
So the concept that we're looking for the sciences.
The sciences, all the domains will be coming out. The sciences, obviously, we know from very basic, the children need observation, prediction, and conclusion. Very basic thing. I mean, Ms. Myers spoke about it. Making lollies, ice lollies with them. What would happen if we mix that sugar with this water? What would happen? And when we put, and the child might say, if we put it in the fridge, it will become hard. So you would put it in the fridge because the child has predicted that's what would happen. Okay, and if it did become hard, you take it off. You see, is your prediction right? Right, so very basic things we do with them. It could be like the sand. What happens if you got dry sand and you pour some water into it? What's going to happen? Getting the child to think about, the whole process, the cooking. It's a process. Science isn't everything that we do, but it's being able to bring it out. One of the things I would say to our schools is that some of our schools got upset because sometimes the activities that they brought forth were not of the standard that we wanted. And we had not given up on them. We were working with them, but some of them gave up. But there's some nice activities out there. But the teachers just needed some support. And we've also recognized some of the areas that training needed. All right? So we want to say to our teachers, do not give up, to work with us. The schools that made it, sometimes some of them had to go back 3 or 4 times, right? Before the committee says that was okay. And then when they did the filming with Mr. Wicks, some of them had to do it 3 or 4 times. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Oh, only 3 or 4?
Yeah, but in some cases it was more. But we need to say to our teachers out there, don't give up. We have not got preferences for anyone, but it's just that we're working on a standard. And we are not there as yet. But our focus and our aim is learning through play. Children need to be involved. They need to be involved in what they're doing. We are not looking at activities that's just adult-led. It has to be a balance. There has to be a balance in terms of the activities that we are providing for our children. And we want to be able to say to our parents, we appreciate our children for who they are and take it from where they are at.
I must say, I must say, Lisa, that in our early conversation, one of the things I did emphasize is actually about the talent. Are the teachers capable of doing this? And I could tell you when I did it, I was really pleasantly surprised at the talent of those teachers in terms of the reading and the different activities. They did an excellent job. And really and truly, most of them did it in one take. But as we said, it's for camera. So, you know, sometimes you freeze up in front of the camera. But really and truly, they're really talented. They know their stuff. They know how to deal with the kids. And as I told them, just picture the camera as a child. You're talking to a child. And we have some really, I'm pleased, in other words, I'm pleased, and I know the public will be pleased in what they're going to see.
Well, certainly from the snippets that we've gotten, we can tell that the talent pool is there, and so it's just about the opportunity, finding that vehicle to further what we do for early childhood education. Dr. Meyer, you're chiming in.
Yes, I think I want to make a point here, because we don't necessarily want to think of the segregation of subjects, so the mathematics and the literacy and the science and the emotional support in terms of HFLE. It is to say that in everything that we do through play, all of those various elements can come through. So the activities are really meant to show that, you know, we mentioned a simple thing like baking the cookies likewise. There's science in there. There's the change of material. There's mathematics. How many raisins per cookie? If you have 20 people, how many would you want to give? How many of those go on a baking tray? How much time does it need? You know, even after the cookies are baked, how do we share them equally with our friends? That's emotional support. That's HFLE. That is showing teamwork. So it is to say, you know, if the child speaks about baking the cookies,
the language,
the oral aspect, the visual, how does it look? How can we describe it? It's brown and it's blue and it's this and it's that. So the integration of all the subject areas is more significant to early childhood learning. It is not about segregation. In as much as I appreciate the point about the science, and I think that's valid, that we look at the scientific aspects, we look at the social studies, we look at the mathematics, but how can we best pool those together, even within one activity, so that children aren't even aware that they're doing mathematics or they're doing science, and they say, oh, I'm not good at math. That's not necessarily true. It is because we have to pool those together in one activity, and we can do that brilliantly, so many of them. The Montessori system is a system that does a lot of that. There's a lot of looking at various elements, real life elements, and making it seem as if the subject areas aren't specific to that subject area, but it is an all-encompassing and an integrated approach that is based on sensory learning.
And so from all that you've said, I can see now that parents will be able to draw from the programs how now to move forward with the children and how to make every moment a teachable moment for the children. So if we can speak directly to the parents to help them understand how to put that into the function of the day-to-day life.
I think what I would like to say to the parents is appreciate their children for where they are at and who they are, and use every opportunity around them to help to educate their children. Put aside the paperwork, right? Because our aim is to motivate children to want to learn. Because learning is a lifestyle. You shouldn't be forcing a child to learn.
Amen.
So make learning fun, get down to their children level, and enjoy their children. And that's the same thing I would say to the teachers as well. We're going back in September. The children need to speak about what's been happening. They need to be given the opportunity, to talk about COVID. Why do I have to wear a mask? Where are the rest of my friends? They need to have the opportunity to explore. And we are blessed, we're in St. Lucia, so we can go outside. We do not have to stay inside. Go underneath the tree or go, where there's some shade and get the children to speak about the experiences that they've been going through. So that's my message for parents. Enjoy your children, put away the paperwork, and let them learn through play.
Okay, Miguel, let's take in another one of our little snippet there of the program.
Hi children, Teacher Jan here with you, and today I'll be doing a story with you. And let's have a look at the story we'll be doing today. The title of our story is Calm Down, Boris. And if I look on the cover of this book, I can see that there's an author. And do you know who the author is? The author is someone who writes the story. And the author of this book is Sam Lloyd. That's his name, Sam Lloyd. Let's have a look. Today, Boris is going to the park. Let's help him get ready. First, let's check his fur for bugs. Checking Boris's fur. Any bugs in there? No, he's nice and clean. We should also brush Boris's hair. Make him look nice and neat. There, Boris, you look so handsome. Thank you, says Boris. Kissy, kissy, kissy. Oh, Boris, no kissing. You're too tickly. Phew, it's hard work scooting to the park. Boris is hungry. I know. Let's feed him some of his picnic food. In the picnic basket, let's get some food out. How do you feel now, Boris? Really good. Boris is nice and fed and feels really happy. Kissy, kissy, kissy.
Lucian in the house. We love to learn, we love to play. Come join with us today.
Lots of fun and learning there with Lucian Kinderpals coming to screen near you, social media as well. We spoke about the show being on cable. So tell us how we can access.
Well, we hope that we get a date soon from NTN to start to air. And
I can tell you today.
And as you said, it'll be on social media. We have a Facebook page where we'll be posting the different activities individually. Again, because we want to encourage that if you want to do something on reading, that you just go to that one rather than watching the whole program. So we want to encourage that. We have an online network called Cut TV. So it's cuttv.net that, again, the program will be available on, and the same as in terms of the different activities where young people could actually, and parents could go and watch this.
Okay, wonderful. And also, Giovanni will tell us about how the early childhood practitioners can reach the association so that they can register.
Okay, we have a WhatsApp number. What's the number again? Yeah, it's 724-1629. So the administrators of the various centers can get in touch with the president at this number, 724-1629. And with regards to the sponsors that have given us the support, I would like to highlight UNICEF as one of our major sponsors, Mercy Stores, Fitz, and Kingdom Soldier. Okay, so these are the 4 main sponsors we've had so far, and we are appealing to the public at large, St. Lucian public, to play a part and be part of Lucian Kinder Pals. And those who want to make a monetary donation, they can access this account number at the St. Lucia Teachers Cooperative. It's D35006. Again, D35006. So you can pledge there, Lisa, as well.
Well, how do you know? You're reading my mind. And that's at which credit union?
There's a credit union, sorry.
Teachers Credit Union.
Yes. Yeah.
There we go. So that's how we're going to help the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners get very close or surpass the $200,000 mark and raising funds to help its members. And of course, when we speak about this, not just the center as, you know, the operators of those centers, but we're really speaking about the children, the young ones, because they're the ones who are benefiting from the early childhood centers the most, I would think, the most. They're the ones who are really benefiting. So we really want to support our children. I want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming in. We've been speaking there with the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners in the persons of Ms. Scholastic Elcock, who is the president, the Greenwich Giovanni Moses, who is the public relations officer, Mr. Colin Weeks, who is the CEO of Dove Productions, and Dr. Fiona Maya, who is the Chief Education Officer, the Ministry of Education, looking at early childhood education during COVID-19. And there's the collaboration between Dove Productions, the Association of Early Childhood Practitioners, and the Ministry of Education providing support there. And that collaboration has manifested into Lucian Kinder Pals, and we've been showing snippets of that throughout this discussion. We really do hope that you support, as Giovanni said, we need to support the association in order for it to continue this program, to allow it to become this international phenomenon, and it can be. And so please go down to the Teachers Credit Union and you can pledge and into the account D35006. That's D35006. Any amount is going to go a long way. Now you can also begin to look out for Lucian Kinder Pals on television, coming to you from the National Television Network, as well as cuttv.net. Cuttv.net on your devices. Yes, so when you go on your laptop, you can use it on your phone. There you go, cuttv.net. Also, for the early childhood practitioners, you can make contact with the association at via WhatsApp at 724-1629. That's 724-1629. Please register and also find out how you too can be part of Lucian Kinder Pals. Once again, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing the program in full when it begins to air. I'm Melissa Joseph saying thank you so much for staying with us. See you next time.
Lucian Kinder Pals are here. Lucian Kinder Pals. We love to learn, we love to play. Come join with us today. Lucian Kinder Pals.